going to do a quick story time. I'm using my camera at on my computer instead of my phone. So yesterday I went to a job interview, and it was in this manufacturing company, and we got to the part of pay, and one of the things is like I'm trying to find a job that pays me more money because what I'm getting paid it's causing me to struggle financially with things that I have to pay, and so they came to the pay, and it's exactly the same amount of money that I'm getting paid at my current job. So when I mentioned that to the person just sent the interview immediately. Again, time to discuss pay. Some people just don't know how to negotiate, and they sometimes don't want to negotiate. And I think the biggest issue that I see is like the starting wage. You change a job or you lose a job, and then you have to go and find a different job, and you are just stuck with a starting wage because what a person needs when they're a grown adult is a starting wage. I get it when you're younger, but like starting wage, come on, like yeah, there might be some learning that you might have to do in a different job, but a starting wage, like you still have some other skills. And some skills are universal, like communication skills, like um, using computers. That's pretty straightforward. You may need to get some training, but some these companies they give you the training, but like at the same time, like starting wages are just like ridiculous in my opinion, especially when they are so low. And then you expect that there's going to be a good increase, and no, it's just like, oh, we're going to give 4%. Although in my case, when they talk about pay raise, one of the big bosses say like, oh, if you want a pay raise, you may have to get another job. And it's just ridiculous. And then of course the other factors of like bosses decide whether you deserve a raise or not, and it's not that ridiculous. And then the benefits, some workplace they don't offer health insurance. So like, what are we working for? And here's a kicker too. I work right now. I get paid by the hour. I get paid by the hour. So if I work 8 hours, I get paid for the 8 hours that I work. However, I don't get why people get so serious when you are like, oh, you're a few minutes late. Okay, I get it. They like attendance and all that kind of stuff. But let's think about it. You are getting paid by the hour. You are not in the clock before you get to work. Once you get to work, you have to clock in, and that's where your time that you are doing work start accruing. You know, so you're not getting paid to get to work, and yet so many people get attendance so strict that, and again, I get it, they want people to go on to their jobs, but at the same time, when attendance is too strict, people um you're going to have workplaces that will have a big turnaround. And uh and that's a problem. But at the same time, like, you are not getting paid for getting to work. So if you're late, you're late. The company it's not paying you for that time. They really, it's not until you start and clock in that the company that start paying you for being there and doing your job. And yes, turning your computer on is doing part of your job. Especially if you work with a computer, your handheld device that they provide you, logging into that, yeah, that counts as being part of the work, part of the job. um it's not something that you do before you clock in. It's something that you do after you clock in, because that's work. You need that device to be able to do your job. It's work. Um, and if you don't believe me, look at an attorney that have worked for employment, and look at the labor laws regulation, because that's what it says. Um, and the thing is, like, I don't think people realize that when you work an hourly job, you're getting paid by the hour. So like, if you're not there, you're not getting paid, which makes it difficult sometimes. And then at the same time, it's like, why I'm giving so much to a company? I can be doing some other things, trying to develop other skills, practicing other skills or just focusing on do, going in a different direction, especially if that's not the direction that I want to go, staying with a company or working a particular specific job, there are other things that I want to be doing rather than being stuck into a store. And there are some positive things that I have about the job, but there are other things that it's like I feel like I'm not growing as a person working retail. I feel like they are not. It's just too much physical work, less of knowledge work, and I'm have education and I'm not using eh, barely anything of what I learned, and it's it's frustrating honestly because the pay is so low, and I know that even if I stay there, pay raise is not going to be too drastic, um, and I don't know, I don't know. It's just like I could be doing something different, focusing my energy on other goals that I have, and instead of being stuck in a store working for 8 hours a day, and you know, and this brings me to the other part. We have a myth, or that if you work hard, you're going to achieve every goal and dream that you have. It depends on where you put your energy to. If you work hard towards something that you really, really want, and you put the energy on the right place to get to where you want to go, then yes, working hard will help you to get there. But if you're just working and giving your time to something else, you're never going to get to where you want to go. So if you spend so much time working hard for something else that is not where you want to be, you are never going to get to where you want to go. And people will say no, because it's magically things are going to turn around. No, that's not how it works. That's not how things work. Even when I was younger and I was trying to search for a job, um, I realized that me just wishing that a job will come, I just have to wait for good things to come, didn't do much. I realized that that is not how life works, that is not how things work, and that I have to be more proactive about things. So those are things that I wish I have learned when I was younger. And I'm just put it in here because I hope that somebody could watch and understand that. I think as I'm getting older, I just want to have more time for myself, more flexibility. I don't want to be stuck to a store. Um, I guess it's just the fact that there's so little money involved in working at retail, and there's so many other things that life has to offer that just being stuck into a store it doesn't do it for me anymore. Anyway, that's all I have for now. Hope you have a good night, and I see you at the next video blog. Bye.